Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth. And I'm going to say today, but I mean, there's been another puzzle already that's been posted. It's just really wasn't happy with that particular solve. And just on the off chance it's not my solve that was actually kind of butchering it, it's actually quite a difficult puzzle. Here is a second puzzle to make sure that there's something that's a little bit more approachable and right up this channel's kind of standard. You may have seen a few of these already before from NurglesGift. I think like we played 3, 4, 5, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think we've actually played all of the previous 5, but we've played a few of them. And you know what it's all about. We're talking about XVs, we're talking about negative constraints. It is magic, which is why Sleuth is kind of dressed like a Roman sorcerer and creating the number 6 in kind of out of thin air. Anyway, let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule set. So I say today's puzzle again. With the following setup, normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, column and 3x3 box. Then, of course, we've got the X's and V's. Let me just find one that's got both. So, for example, cells connected by an X must sum up to 10. So if this cell is a 2, this would have to be an 8 to make sure that these two cells do add up to 10. Cells connected by a V must sum up to 5. So if this is a 2, this would have to be a 3 to make sure that these two cells add up to 5. 5, 10, etc. Emphasis here is on negative constraints. All X's and V's are given. So I cannot do the following. I cannot place a 7 in here. That would make these two cells add up to 10 without an X between them. I couldn't do 2 and 3 as such. They would add up to 5 and there's no V between them. So negative constraints do apply. Now, the second kind of item, and I guess it kind of explains the magic, although I think we've seen magic in the title before, is somewhere in this grid, there is a 3x3 magic square, where a magic square is 3x3 square with digits 1 to 6, where all the rows, columns, and diagonals have the same sum. So if you imagine that this is, although I think we have to find it, it does say there is a 3x3 magic square somewhere in the grid. We don't know if it's there. And what it's saying is that all rows, so that's 3 rows, all columns, and the diagonals all have to come up to the same sum. So we're going to have to find this, and that's all the rules we have for today. So not a ton of rules, but as always, if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. That said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. What I'm going to do is take a quick diversion about talking about the magic squares. So remember that each row, row 1, row 2, row 3, have to add up to the same sum. It has the digits 1 to 9 in that 3x3 square. So we know that it adds up to 45, because it's the digits 1 to 9, 1 plus 2 plus 3, all the way up to 9, you will get to 45. 3 rows means that each row needs to add up to 15, or admittedly, every column and every diagonal. This is where you can do a little bit of maths to say, right, so we've got one diagonal, we've got 2 diagonals, we've got 1 column, and we've got 1 horizontal, all of which go through the center digit. Now, the way to sort of look at this is essentially we've got 15, 30, 45, 60, as in 15 for lots of them. Kind of the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. For the diagonal, the column, the other diagonal, and then the row. Now, that's going to add up to 60. You know, 4 lots of 15 will get you to 60. But essentially, I'm adding every cell at least once, 1, 2, you know, because essentially to get to that column, I've got these 2 cells, plus the center digit. But I have the center digit 4 times. So you take away every cell once, and essentially you take away from the 60, the 45, you'll end up with 15, which is equivalent to the center digit 3 times. And that's how you get a 5 in the middle of it. The rest of it means that essentially these 2 cells have to add up to 10, these 2 cells have to add up to 10, these 2 cells add up to 10, etc. And we can do a little bit of derivation from here. In particular, what you're going to be able to do very quickly is that determine that the diagonals are even, and then the kind of the cross, the plus sign in the middle, is odd. Kind of the quick way of doing this is to look at the fact that the columns excluding the one in the middle, have to add up to 15. The only way to do that is it's 2 evens and an odd. So keep in mind this reference, because essentially we're on the lookout for this somewhere in here. Notice that the 5 is in the middle, can't be on the edges. So essentially, as I go through this solve, I am going to color locations where the square cannot be. So it cannot be the 5, I'm looking for the center of the square, cannot be on the edges, kind of self-evident. 5 can never be on a 10, because if that's 5, that would have to be a second 5 to get to 10. It can never be on a 5, because that would be 5 plus 0. So essentially, you can start to color every cell that cannot be 5 as something, and in fact, it's kind of actually helpful in here. It gives me my first digit in box 9, in that can't be 5, can't be 5, can't be 5, can't be 5. Where is 5? It's the only place is in here. Now, again, I can remove anything that is not a 5. Actually, I can't remove this cell just yet. Can I not? Yes, I can't. Because if you look at it as if this is the magic square, these two cells are 5. That would require a 10 to get here. So that is definitely out as well. That is definitely out because, 5 would be at the corner. That doesn't work. There is a 5 between these two cells. But again, that can't be one of them. It actually allows me to place another 5 in here. What else can I do? 5 can't be there. Essentially, if it's got like a 10 or a 5 next to it, it doesn't work. And I'll explain that. If it's 5 in here, these two cells are also adding up to 10. It would require another 5 in here to add up to 15. So that is out. That is out for the same logic. All of these are gone. There's a 5. Actually, no, I can't do that because there's a 5 in here potentially. But I can also exclude both of these for the same reason. If these two cells add up to 5, this cell would have to add up to 10 to make sure... Oh, actually, no. Sorry, this cell would have to add up to 10 to make sure that these do add up to 15. So both of these can also be excluded. Same logic in here. Same logic in here because of the 10. That would require another 5. Fairly sure, yep, this 5 doesn't work because that would be 10. That would be a second 5. Just having to think. I think the remaining cells, and I'm actually going to flip the colors in a second. No, this one doesn't work, obviously, because, again, I've got 10. Therefore, that would require another 5 to add up to 15. So that's out. So my options for this are essentially all of these remaining cells. Does that work? Yeah, I think all of these would work now. Right, so I'm going to color these some color. I'm going to use purple, I'm going to use blue, I'm going to use red. I'm going to do something unusual and say these are the potential locations for the magic square with the yellow. Right, back onto the rest of the puzzle, and we're going to do a bit of coloring. Right, so 2 cells that add up to 5, they're either 1, 4 or they're 2, 3. What I do know is you can't have duplicates of them in the same column, row, or box. So I can color one of them. Normally I use blue and green. Yeah, so blue, green. To get to 10, you need a low digit from 1, 2, 3, 4, plus a high digit from 6, 7, 8, 9. These I know are definitely high digits. This is definitely blue. This is definitely a high digit because I've used the blues and greens. So that is a high digit. That is a low digit. I don't actually know what it is. There is a green and a red in both of these. Not sure how that helps me, if I'm honest. Ooh. Right, so green, red in here. One of these is going to be a blue-red. One of them is going to be green-red. Just count the number of greens and reds, sorry, greens and blues that we have in row 1. Can't have too many of either. Where am I going with this? I'm trying to essentially color the remaining 5s, and I'm kind of struggling to see how I can reach it from the commitments I've already made here. And it may require, not normally a fan of doing this, it may require a second set of colors. Yeah, not a fan. Definitely not a fan. These two are low. This is clearly high. These are low. There will be another low digit between these cells. And therefore this is high. Fives are gray. This is green-red. Feels unlikely that this is green. But actually the better way to look at it is I've got at least one green, at least one blue. Yeah, but you see, this could be red. And then I can actually have a second low digit in here. Yeah, it's not very helpful. I was sort of going off piste a bit there. Huh. Yeah, 2 for 2 with tricky puzzles, huh? Right, here is an unusual deduction. If these two cells are the same color, Sudoku would say that the two blues that belong in box 7 would have to be in the bottom row because, you know, I've got 2 in row 7, I've got 2 in row 8. So row 9, the only place for it would be in here. But then the negative constraint says they can't be next to one another. So I'd end up with two blues as such, where I can't have any more low digits in column 1. So kind of a very odd deduction. I am going to use another set of colors. This is unusual for me. But I can be absolutely certain that these are different. And therefore I know that this low digit cannot be purple. It's got to be orange. Then I have purple, red, purple, red. Then presumably, I don't actually know. Wow, this is a very tricky puzzle. Excuse me. I sure think. Sorry, I'm just going to hit the pause button. Right, sorry about that. And we're back. I say we're back, but like, I am genuinely like flummoxed, if that's the right word or phrase to use, about where to go with this puzzle. Sure thing, my lovely. Right, the remaining ones here must be orange and red. And I say that because, yeah, I've already got one. And this cell can't repeat in here anywhere. So if this cell is in any of these X's, that would require this to repeat. So yes, the remaining ones are orange, red, and therefore this is definitely purple. So far, not helping me at all. Now I have another orange in here, which can't be in these three cells because of this orange. And this can't be orange, and this can't be purple. So this is definitely red. Now this is a low digit that could be either purple or orange, which is unfortunate. What essentially we've got up here is two purples and one orange. Now the purples, nothing stops me from having them next to one another, something like that, does it? I'm not seeing the problem with that. So it's not like the purples, I mean, if they were oranges, that would have been different, but the purples don't have to be apart as such. Bit of a shame. And I don't know anything about this cell. Nothing wrong with it being orange red, for that matter. That could be the orange, that could be the red. Come on, sleuth. Okay, like much trickier puzzle than I was expecting. Or maybe it's just been a long day and therefore I'm not doing so well. Sorry, Mrs. Sleuth is making jokes in the background. This could be purple. Actually, no. So I've got purple. Oh, hang on. Why was that purple rather than red? Because this is purple or red. Nothing says it has to be purple, does it? Sorry, nothing says it has to be red. So sadly, I can't even force this. Wow. Right, we're on to letters. We're going to have to. Right, how am I doing this? A, D. No, I can't even do that. I don't know what's low and high in here to be able to force anything. Remember, this is just, what's the right word I'm looking for here? This is just algebra. Like it doesn't matter what the A's, B's, C's, and D's stand for as long as I'm consistent in my application of it. So essentially B and C add up to 5, A and D add up to 5, C and G add up to 10, B and H add up to 10. And like I said, as long as you're consistent, it doesn't matter. Now, we know because of negative constraint that this is not H nor I, and it can't be G. So we actually know this letter, and we knew that all along. That's F, that's D, therefore that's blue. You see, it can't be G, I've already placed it. Can't be H, otherwise it would be 10. Can't be I, otherwise it would be 10. So it can only be F, this can only be D. These are already green, so it doesn't help. I mean, interestingly, A is definitely in here now. Let's have a think. These are... Well, I is definitely in here. Therefore, this can't be A. Where is I? It can't be there next to the A, otherwise we'd need to add up to 10. I is therefore in one of these two cells. It can't be therefore in here, meaning this is not A or I. This is definitely green red. And it's not H, so it can't be B. This is CG. Meaning this cell here is BH. Otherwise, it can't be CG. It's these two of them. This is CG. I should have got onto this like a lot sooner, I think. So, essentially this cell, this B or H, is in here, where it can't be B. It's got to be H, and therefore this is H, and therefore this is B. What have I just done? No. Let's try that again. The remaining digits are H, I, and E. There you go. Sorry. H, I, and E. That's what I meant today. This can't be I. I mean, I made a mistake. So AD, A, that's definitely A. And, I'll kind of tell you why this is now helpful, is if I make this B and this B, well, B would have to be amongst one of these three cells, and it can't be. And I really got this by accident, so apologies for that. Doesn't help me with my CG, unfortunately. So EHI means there is another EHI and an F in one of these two cells, presumably, and therefore this is not F. F is in one of these two. And then I have B with 5 or I. I'm going to pencil mark it, just remove the I. In fact, yeah, the I is definitely in here now, given this X, and therefore this is not I either. No negative constraints in any of these, really, unless this is C, in which case this is not B, but not a lot left here. I is there, meaning that I is in one of these two cells, and it can't be the low digit. So that's I, that's A, and that's what I was after. Purple, if I can select it, is blue. Orange is green. Lovely. AI tells me DF, BC. That cannot be C and G or break this cell. So that's B, C, H. B is now removed from here. Only place for a B left in box 7 is there. That C gave me G, C. And I don't think negative constraints are going to help me with the rest. No, they don't. Maybe the I over here. And 5 and I in here. Oh, sorry, when I say E, it's 5. And since I'm not using E, I'm just not going to use it. B, so H, this is G, this is C, this is A, this is D. This is 5 or F, both of which seemingly are around. These two cells are known, including an F. So that can't be F. That's 5. That's F. That's not F. That's right. These two are, it's not A. Oh, it does include B. And it includes F. No negative constraints, so not very helpful. That can't be D. So that's D. That's, hang on. What have I done? Sorry, backpedaling a ton. D and F. I'm missing another letter. H. Sorry. That's H. That's 5. I, 5, F. Better. Pardon me. I can still make this red because it can't be D next to A. What was up with that grey? Yes, this light grey, that light grey, reds, D, F, blue, red. This has to be D now, and therefore is blue. If this is C and G, that would make this C and G entirely plausible. And in fact, if this is A and D, and this is A and D, if this is B, and that's also fine. That would be A and D. So, like, sorry, I jumped ahead quite a bit. This is not D and F. It's not C or G. So it's B and H in this direction. or A and I in this direction, because the A can't be next to the D. So this is always the high digit. This is blue or green for the moment. H, no, it doesn't matter. This is, we don't know what this is yet. Where am I going? These cells, I am going to pencil mark them. It's unusual for me. CG or BH. So let's think about this. D is none of these cells. D is one of these three. B and C are none of these cells. Thing is, I mean, I can't, so I'm just thinking, are all of these high? The answer is no. I can get an A in here. Excuse me. That gives me I here, that gives me D here, that gives me A can't be next, I can't be next to A. That removes a D option from there. It tells me one of these two is F. Not going to pencil mark these. Basically, both options work for the moment. F is not here because of Sudoku. F is not there, Sudoku. That's F. I need another low digit. It could be anywhere. There is no 5 here. So if this is a high digit, it's I. If it's a low digit, it's A. And can it be C? If it's C, that would be B and this would be A. Yeah, so this is a few options still. I feel like I've determined some of these, haven't I? Yeah, H means this is 5. These are not 5s. Is the negative constraint helping? H and I? Nope. Don't need the corner pencil marks. This is grey. H and I pair. No 5s. Okay, we're back onto that again for a second in terms of where can the magic square be? Can't be in any of these cells anymore because there are no 5s in here. They're gone. Seemingly the rest are available. Fairly sure this doesn't work because these are, I don't know, high is B and I'm fairly sure these two cells add up to 15 on their own because essentially it's the counterpart. So these two cells add up to 10. No, it's A and I, H and B. I don't actually know. I don't know what these two cells add up to. So no, this could work. These two cells are known. 5 and F. These two cells are F and something. F and B. I say F and B and immediately write 5. This is 5 or G apparently, and G cannot be here next to C. So that's G. That's 5. That removes yellow as an option here. This is grey, this is red. This is green, red. Not going to pencil mark. So have a think about where does D go? D is in one of these two cells. A is not here. A is not there. A can't be in either of these cells, otherwise it would be next to D. So this is A, this is B, this is H. This is green. Therefore, this is G and C. A is somewhere in here with 5 and I. The A and I, neither of them could be here, otherwise the neighbor would have to force them into 10. So that's A and I. That's my 5. Now, these can't be 5, so they're not options for magic square. Neither is this cell. It's kind of pointing towards magic square being box 5, but we'll prove it rather than assume it. The A and the I seemingly both work. There's no negative constraint as far as I could spot. No, just Sudoku, sleuth. Do more of it, please. You're kind of forgetting your New Year resolution, so I have B, H, and 5. Oh, it's really starting to force this to be... It is actually the magic square now. Right, let me explain that. So take a look at the remaining availability. There's clearly, I'm missing the B and the H in here. I say B and H. Yes, I am. H, I, H. So just Sudoku forces it in here alongside a 5. We don't have a gray cell. However, there is no X. So if I put B and H next to one another in any of these, I'll break this. So that's a 5. That means that's not my magic square either, because neither of them are 5s. And importantly, the 2 cells surrounding it do add up to 10. So this is exactly 15. Lovely. Right, so the A and D are kind of like in an X-wing because they can't both be in the same column. Otherwise, this cell would have to be 10 to add up to 15. Same is true in here, and it's clearly not 10. So A and D are definitely separate. And I'm so tempted to actually pencil mark the lot now. And use this kind of magic square to force this through, but I'm going to resist this for now. So A and D, remember, they're in different cells. So like one of them is definitely not in here. Where am I going with this? Do I need to do the magic square? I love the idea, by the way, of doing the whole grid and then using the magic square to figure out what are all the numbers and then replacing them. So I'm going to make an attempt to try and not use the fact that we know that this is the magic square and start to fill it in, and definitely try to complete this as kind of as I described. Right, so we know that these are D, C, and I. We know that these are F, A, and G. This is not A, this is not I, this is not D, this is not F, this is not I, this is not A. Did I screw this one up? I think I did. So not A or I, but it could be C or G, and it could be D or F. More importantly, I've got a CD pair that gives me I, A. Doesn't help me with negative constraints in any of these. A now is none of these cells. So A is in one of these two, forming another X-wing. That can't be A because this would have to be D, which it isn't. So that's... Come on. There. A, and then remember that can't add up to 15. So that's D, that's F, that's I. C and G, that's C, that's G. That's my magic square done. Has that resolved these? No. No, okay. That is a bit of a surprise. These are now definitely green. This has to be blue, red, and therefore it's D and F. And therefore this is C and G. This is D and F. We're getting somewhere. This is now known. It's I. BC means at least this is F, this is B, this is H, this is B. Not sure how we're going to resolve the B's and C's, but we'll keep going. Then I need a 5, which can only be on these sides. Actually, this is easier. What is this cell? I've got everything else. It's G, I think. Which makes this not C, makes this B, makes this C, makes this C, makes this G, makes this H, makes this B. Then I need 5 and F. Actually, no F's in here. This F gave me that 5, that F. I think I've got all the low letters. I haven't got a 5, so that's the 5. And this is the last thing that I need, which is H. Right, just going to color. And then we're going to use the magic square to basically figure out what is left here. Greens, reds. Right. How is this going to help me? It's a really good question. So what did I say earlier? That the even digits have to be on the outside. So the C and the D are essentially the 2 and 4. This is the 1 and 3. This is the 1 and 3. Therefore, this is... Sorry, I kind of messed it up. Yeah, that was A. That's B. And therefore this is H, and this is the 7 or 9. Because these two cells add up to 6, that has to be the 9 to get to 16. Therefore H is 9, including this cell. B, including this cell, is 1. A, we've already determined is odd, including this cell, is 3. To add up to 5, C, including this cell, is 4. To add up to 5, this has to be the 2. F has to be the 8. I has to be the 7. And G is the 6 for the finish. What a phenomenal puzzle NurglesGift. So I think like the main thing here was I should have started with the letters just a tiny bit sooner. It would have been a slightly smoother solve. But much happier with this solve compared to kind of the earlier one that I absolutely murdered. Hope you guys enjoyed the puzzle and the video and a second feature for a Sunday. And I'll see you back soon. Bye-bye for now.